You're listening to Rooted and Overflowing.
Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of Rooted and Overflowing. I'm Letitia, and I am so glad to share with you today. But first, I want to thank you so much for the reviews and feedback for the podcast. Rooted and Overflowing is a labor of love, and I'm learning as I grow, so I appreciate you joining me as I follow Christ. Right now, my goal is consistency. So the Rooted and Overflowing podcast and the monthly newsletter are free, and I pray that they add value to your walk with the Lord. And speaking of the newsletter, the October edition is still available. If you haven't already, you can subscribe at LetitiaEvans.com. That's LETITIA Evans.com. In addition to subscribing to the newsletter, which will distribute on the first Saturday of each month, you'll also see the link for a wonderful book that your library needs. It's called Laughing Through Adversity by Dawn L. Johnson, and it is a heartfelt glimpse into Dawn's life as the Lord carries her through her health struggle and into the marvelous purpose He has for her. It is certainly no secret that we are in challenging times. Our personal wellness continues to be challenged as we seek ways to process the changes that are brought on by the pandemic. These changes affect our work, school, churches, families, and communities. As we look to our communities, in addition to the local elections, the presidential election is on for November 3rd. If you haven't cast your ballot yet, you can check with the Board of Elections in your area to learn more about early and absentee voting or cast your vote on November 3rd. Either way, let your voice be heard by your vote. Friends, as we face world events that do not stop, understand that there is a hope that does not stop. So during this uncertain time, don't lose heart, don't lose focus, and don't lose touch. When we're overwhelmed, we feel powerless. We don't think we have what it takes to face, much less conquer what overwhelms us. We look at everything that is out of whack in the world, all at the same time, and wonder, how will we ever get through the sickness, the death, the dangerous weather, the societal turmoil? Then we look at our personal lives, and it's the same thing. Bills, business, work, family, friendships. Circumstances in these areas are sometimes so big and so out of reach that we can feel it's not worth the effort to even address. We'd rather let the chips fall where they may without putting up a fight. But friends, we don't have to let the enemy win just on a humble. In 2 Chronicles chapter 32, verses 7 and 8, we see King Hezekiah encourage his army after they repaired and fortified breaches against the impending attack from the Assyrian army. He says to them, "Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid or discouraged because of the king of Assyria or his mighty army, for there is a power far greater on our side. He may have a great army, but they are merely men. We have the Lord our God to help us and to fight our battles for us." So let's take heart and know that when we suit up and face what is before us, God will help us win. And there are times when He will fight the battles for us. When you read 2 Chronicles 32 in its entirety, you'll get the whole story and discover that King Hezekiah's faith in what God would do for them served him well. As we continue to face uncertain days, don't lose focus. What are you looking at? What does your mind keep rehearsing over and over again? Are you ruminating over what troubles you, or are you increasing in faith by meditating on God's word? Isaiah 26 and 3 says, "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you." This verse shows that when we trust God and look to Him, our reward is peace. We are in critical times, and it doesn't benefit us to give ourselves time to be distracted by the enemy. We each have lives to live, goals to accomplish, God to honor, and a purpose to fulfill. And if our minds are filled with all that's wrong in the world, we can lose hope for even trying. It is crucial that we stay on task with connecting with God through prayer and reading the Bible. God gives us life, He gives us hope, and He gives us wisdom to win against the enemy. The battle that rages around us is spiritual, and our victory is in staying connected to the Lord. The final point is don't lose touch. With information available at our fingertips, it is easy to get caught up in the news cycle, caught up with what's happening on social media, and caught up in our own thoughts and anxieties. But by staying caught up in those things, we lose touch with what's important in our lives. Our mental well-being, our physical health, family, friends, our relationship with Christ, all of them are subject to fall by the wayside because we're worrying about things that we cannot change. During this time, don't lose touch with yourself, but take care of yourself. 3 John chapter 1 verse 2 says, "Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers." Our health is important, so let's be willing to give our eyes, ears, and minds a rest. Get a break from the dings and pings of the notifications from our devices. Unplug for a while. What about rest? Are you sleeping well? Do you need a bit of fresh air? Is the food that you're eating working for your body or against it? See, when we take care of ourselves, we're able to care for others. And that moves me to the next section. Don't lose touch with your people. How's your family? For your friends and family in other states or in other countries, how are they? Do they know how you're doing? Technology has made it possible for us to get together and laugh and cut up until we can see each other in person again. When you connect with family and friends, give yourselves the opportunity to talk through what's going on. Listen for cues and pray and seek help as needed. And finally, don't lose touch with God. If you've been seeking a deeper prayer life, this is a great time to dig into prayer in a different way. If you've been wanting to understand more about the Bible, check with your local church for resources. And also, there are books and Bible studies by amazing men and women of God that can give us a pattern and direction on navigating the Bible. In John chapter 6, verse 35, Jesus says, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will not hunger, and he who believes in me will never thirst." This lets us know that in Jesus Christ, we can find what we need to be nourished, and what He supplies never runs out. So, friend, I hope you can see that you don't have to lose out during this chaotic time. We don't have to worry ourselves out of God's blessings of peace and strength during this time. We can hold on to God and believe that He will give us the peace and wisdom to keep us safe and whole. And if you find that God is maturing you through a trial during this time, friend, just keep trusting that God is with you and will bring you through. Yes, get the help you need. Yes, continue to pray. And understand that in Deuteronomy 31, verse 8, the prophet Moses encouraged the Israelites of the nature of God by telling them, "The Lord Himself goes before you, and He will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." God is looking out for you, and He will bring us through to the other side of whatever we're experiencing. So with all of that being said, don't lose. Don't lose heart, don't lose focus, and don't lose touch with yourself, your family, your friends, or with God. Be blessed. Thanks for listening to this episode of Rooted and Overflowing. You can download and subscribe wherever you listen to great audio. Tell a friend about Rooted and Overflowing. And after a few episodes, I'd love for you to rate and review the show. Links mentioned in the program will be in the show notes. And you can also visit LetitiaEvans.com. That's Letitia, Letia, Evans.com. Until next time, grace and peace.